I'm 82 years old, and I learned too late that silence can destroy a marriage. Not shouting, not cruelty, not even betrayal, just silence. I'm sitting alone as I say this. That seems fitting. The house is quiet now in a way I never imagined when I was young. Back then, I thought quiet meant peace. At this age, you start counting differently. Not days or years, but mornings. How many more times you'll wake up and realize there's no one in the next room breathing beside you. I'm not telling this because I want forgiveness. There's no one left to forgive me. I'm telling it because some lessons only become clear when there's no time left to use them. When I was younger, I thought a good marriage was one without arguments. My parents fought loudly, painfully. I promised myself I'd never be like that. So I learned to swallow words. I learned to nod. I learned to let things pass. I married my wife when we were both in our 20s. She was thoughtful, observant, quieter than me at first. She noticed things I missed, people's moods, small changes, unspoken tension. In the beginning, we talked a lot. Long conversations late at night. Dreams about work, about children, about where we might live someday. Life filled up quickly. Jobs, commutes, bills, children who needed shoes, lunches, rides. I worked long hours. Not because I loved work, but because it felt like responsibility. Providing felt like love. When I came home tired, I didn't want to talk. Not about my day, not about hers. She would start sentences carefully. I was thinking, do you ever feel like, can we talk about something? And I would say, not tonight, or it's nothing. Or worse, I'd say nothing at all. I thought I was keeping the peace. I thought I was being mature. I thought silence was safer than saying the wrong thing. What I didn't see was that every unsaid word didn't disappear. It stayed. It piled up quietly between us. She stopped asking questions after a while. I didn't notice when that happened. I just felt relieved. The house got quieter. The children grew. We moved through our days efficiently, politely. People used to say we were a solid couple. We didn't fight. We didn't make scenes. I took pride in that. At night, she would sometimes turn toward me in bed. I could feel it before she spoke, and I would pretend to be asleep. I told myself I was tired. I told myself tomorrow would be better. I told myself there would be time. There was always time, until there wasn't. The years didn't break us all at once. They wore us down gently, like water on stone. I missed moments I didn't realize were moments. A look that lingered a second too long. A sigh that wanted a question. A hand that rested on mine, waiting. I answered everything with quiet, with distance, with absence. When the children left home, the silence grew louder. There was no noise to hide behind anymore. No schedules, no distractions. We sat at the table across from each other like strangers who knew each other's habits too well. She still cooked. I still worked, even after I didn't need to. One evening, she said very calmly, "Do you know how lonely it is to live with someone who won't talk to you?" I remember looking at my plate. I remember thinking of a dozen replies. I said none of them. That was the moment I could have changed everything. I see it clearly now. Then, I just felt uncomfortable. She stopped trying after that, and that's something I didn't understand until much later. When someone stops asking, it's not because they don't care, it's because caring has become too painful. Years later, she got sick. Nothing dramatic at first, just tiredness, appointments, tests. I went with her, sat in waiting rooms, filled out forms. I was present in all the practical ways. I thought that counted. She spent more time sleeping, more time looking out the window, less time speaking. One afternoon she reached for my hand and said, "I wish we had talked more." That was it. No anger, no accusation. I nodded. I squeezed her hand. I didn't say anything. She died quietly a few months later, just like our marriage had lived. Quietly. After the funeral, people came and told me how strong I was, how devoted I had been. I thanked them. At night, the house felt enormous. Every sound echoed. Every silence accused me. I started replaying conversations we never had, arguments we never fought, apologies I never gave. I realized something then that I wish I'd known sooner. Silence isn't neutral. It takes sides. It sides with distance, with misunderstanding, with loss. You don't have to say something cruel to hurt someone. Sometimes all it takes is saying nothing at all. There are things I can't fix now. I can't go back and answer her questions. I can't tell her what I was afraid to say. I can't ask her what she felt all those years. I can only guess. And guessing is a poor substitute for listening. People talk about regret like it's loud and dramatic. It isn't. It's quiet. It shows up when you're folding laundry alone, when you hear a joke and turn to share it with no one, when you realize you don't remember the sound of her laugh anymore. If you're listening to this and you're still in the middle of your life, I won't tell you what to do. I wouldn't have listened anyway. I'll just tell you what I wish I had understood. Silence feels easier in the moment. Talking feels risky, but silence lasts longer, and it leaves deeper marks. You don't need perfect words. You don't need solutions. Sometimes all someone needs is to be heard while they're still here. I used to think love was proven through duty, through staying, through not leaving. Now I know love also needs voice. It needs presence. It needs the courage to speak, even when your voice shakes. I don't have many mornings left. I feel that now in my bones, in the way time moves faster than it used to. I talk to her sometimes, even though I know she can't answer. I tell her things I should have said decades ago. The house listens. If this meant something to you, you don't need to respond. You don't need to agree. Just don't wait as long as I did. I'm 82 years old, and if silence has taught me anything, it's that love ignored doesn't disappear. It just fades quietly, until one day there's nothing left to say.